Hello everyone and welcome. Get ready for a series of multiple choice questions. All right, let's get started. Which cellular organelle is known as the powerhouse of the cell due to its role in ATP production through cellular respiration? A. Nucleus. B. Mitochondrion. C. Chloroplast. D. Golgi apparatus. Here is a question focusing on cell biology. The answer is B. Mitochondria are the primary sites of cellular respiration in eukaryotic cells, where glucose and other fuel molecules are broken down to generate a large amount of ATP, the main energy currency of the cell. What is the term for the process where pollen grains are transferred from the anther to the stigma of a flower? A. Fertilization. B. Germination. C. Pollination. D. Dispersal. Consider the reproductive steps in flowering plants. The answer is C. Explanation. Pollination is the transfer of pollen from the male part of a flower, anther, to the female part, stigma. Fertilization is the fusion of gametes, which occurs after pollination and germination of the pollen grain. Germination is the process where a seed or spore begins to grow. Dispersal is the spreading of seeds or spores away from the parent plant. Which of the following is a disease caused by a virus? A. Tuberculosis. B. Malaria. C. Typhoid. D. Influenza. Think about common human infectious diseases. The answer is D. Explanation. Influenza, flu, is caused by influenza viruses. Tuberculosis is caused by the bacterium Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Malaria is caused by Plasmodium parasites. Typhoid fever is caused by the bacterium Salmonella typhi. The sequence of nitrogenous bases in a segment of DNA that codes for a protein or functional RNA molecule is called A. Codon, B. Anticodon, C. Gene, D. Nucleotide. Recall the structure and function of genetic material. The answer is C. Explanation. A gene is a specific sequence of DNA nucleotides that contains the instructions for making a functional product, usually a protein or a functional RNA molecule. A codon is a 3-nucleotide sequence within a gene that specifies a particular amino acid or stop signal. An anticodon is a sequence on tRNA that pairs with a codon. A nucleotide is the basic building block of DNA and RNA. What is the process by which an organism maintains a stable internal environment despite changes in external conditions? A. Adaptation. B. Evolution. C. Homeostasis. D. Response. Consider the regulatory mechanisms within living beings. The answer is C. Explanation. Homeostasis is the ability of an organism to maintain a relatively stable internal physiological state, like temperature, pH, blood sugar, despite external changes. Adaptation is a process by which organisms become better suited to their environment over time. Evolution is the change in heritable characteristics of biological populations over successive generations. A response is a reaction to a stimulus. Which part of the human digestive system is the primary site for the absorption of digested food? A. Stomach. B. Small intestine. C. Large intestine. D. Esophagus. Review the functions of different digestive organs. The answer is B. Explanation. The small intestine is specifically adapted with villi and microvilli to maximize the surface area for the absorption of most of the nutrients, digested carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, minerals, and water from the digested food into the bloodstream and lymphatic system. What is the term for the symbiotic association between fungi and the roots of higher plants? A. Lichen. B. Mycorrhiza. C. Algal bloom. D. Plankton. Think about mutualistic relationships in nature. The answer is B. Explanation. Mycorrhiza is a mutualistic symbiotic association between a fungus and the roots of a vascular plant. The fungus helps the plant absorb water and nutrients from the soil, while the plant provides the fungus with carbohydrates produced during photosynthesis. A lichen is a symbiotic association between a fungus and an alga or cyanobacterium. Algal bloom is a rapid increase in the population of algae. Plankton are microscopic organisms drifting in water. The principle that states that during gamete formation, the alleles for each gene segregate from each other so that each gamete carries only one allele for each gene is known as A. Law of dominance. B. Law of segregation. C. Law of independent assortment. D. Chromosomal theory of inheritance. Recall Mendel's laws of heredity. The answer is B. The law of segregation states that the two alleles for each gene separate during gamete formation so that each gamete receives only one allele. The law of dominance states that in a heterozygote, one allele will conceal the presence of another. The law of independent assortment states that alleles of different genes assort independently of one another during gamete formation. The chromosomal theory of inheritance links genes to chromosomes. The principle that states that during gamete formation, the alleles for each gene segregate from each other so that each gamete carries only one allele for each gene is known as A. Law of dominance. B. Law of segregation. C. Law of independent assortment. D. Chromosomal theory of inheritance. Recall Mendel's laws of heredity. The answer is B. The law of segregation states that the two alleles for each gene separate during gamete formation so that each gamete receives only one allele. The law of dominance states that in a heterozygote, one allele will conceal the presence of another. The law of independent assortment states that alleles of different genes assort independently of one another during gamete formation. The chromosomal theory of inheritance links genes to chromosomes. What is the primary ecological role of decomposers, like bacteria and fungi, in an ecosystem? A. Producers of energy. B. Consumers of living organisms. C. Breaking down dead organic matter. D. Regulating population size. Think about the flow of energy and nutrients in an ecosystem. The answer is C. Decomposers such as bacteria and fungi break down dead organic matter, dead plants, animals, and waste products. This process releases nutrients back into the ecosystem, making them available for producers, plants. This is crucial for nutrient cycling. Producers, like plants, create their own energy. Consumers eat other organisms. While decomposers are essential for ecosystem health, their primary role isn't direct population regulation of living organisms in the way predators or parasites do. Enjoyed the video? Want to stay up to date with the latest training? Then make sure to subscribe to our channel. We've got tons more helpful content coming your way. Hit that subscribe button and join our community.